Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas. Today, we're digging into something we all want to be better at, connection. And we're going to do it by unpacking Charles Duhigg's fantastic book, Supercommunicators. So let's just jump right in with a really high-stakes question. This isn't just a hypothetical either. It's at the heart of an incredible true story about what happens when communication fails spectacularly, and then somehow gets it powerfully right.
So I want you to meet Jim Lawler. The year is 1982. He's a new CIA case officer, and, well, to put it bluntly, he's terrible at his job. He just can't seem to connect with anyone, and he's pretty sure he's on the verge of getting fired. But then, a golden opportunity basically lands in his lap. Her name is Yasmin. She's a young woman working for a foreign ministry. She's visiting Europe, seems kind of lonely, and most importantly, she absolutely despises her country's oppressive new government. I mean, she is the perfect potential recruit. So Lawler's strategy for recruiting her, it's totally practical, all business. He offers her money, a nice little part-time job as a consultant, and he lays out this perfectly logical argument. Hey, we both want to undermine your country's leaders, so let's work together. It's a textbook problem and solution kind of pitch. But the second he says those three little letters, CIA, the whole thing just implodes. His logical, practical pitch doesn't build a bridge, it creates pure, absolute terror. In his own words, he said, "I watched her eyes get bigger, she started crying, and I knew I was screwed." She is horrified. She literally runs away from the conversation. The mission is a complete and total failure. And Lawler has this huge realization. His practical arguments and logic weren't just useless. They were the very thing that drove her away. He gets one last chance to talk to her, but he knows deep down he's got to try something completely different. So if logic fails, what actually works? What creates that feeling when you just click with someone? Well, it turns out the answer is actually found deep inside our own brains. Scientists actually have a name for this. They call it neural entrainment. It's what's happening on a biological level when we feel like we're on the same wavelength with someone. Our brains literally start to fire in the same patterns. Our heart rates sync up, our pupils dilate together. We are, quite literally, feeling the same thing. And this illustrates it perfectly. I mean, look at the image on the left. You see all these separate, chaotic thoughts. That's a conversation that's going nowhere. But then, look to the right. After a real talk, their brains, their thoughts, they start to align. They find that synchrony. And that is the biological goal of any great conversation. Okay, so how do we actually get there? How do we get our brains to line up like that? Well, the key is understanding a really simple but incredibly powerful idea. At any given time, we are only ever having one of three different kinds of conversations. This idea right here is the absolute core of Duhigg's book. Every single discussion we have, whether it's a big meeting at work or a small argument with a friend, it always falls into one of these three buckets. So first up, you've got your practical conversations. These are all about solving problems, making plans. The question is, what's this really about? Then you have emotional conversations. These are about sharing feelings, looking for empathy. The question here is, how do we feel? And finally, there are social conversations. These are about our identities, our relationships, how we fit together. The question is, who are we? Now, here is the crucial takeaway. This is so important. The reason we miscommunicate, the reason we get into arguments, is almost always because two people are trying to have different kinds of conversations at the exact same time, and they don't even realize it. I mean, we've all been here, haven't we? Someone comes to you just to vent about their awful day at work. They are trying to start an emotional conversation. But what do? We jump right in with solutions, trying to have a practical conversation. And to them, it feels like we're not listening because, really, we aren't speaking the same language. Okay, so this all leads us to the single most important rule for connection. This is the big idea from all this research. It's called the matching principle. What I love about this slide is how it just shows you the solution so clearly. You see the two heads on the left, their brainwaves are all out of whack, but as you move to the right, they start to sync up. That's the goal. To really connect, you first have to figure out what kind of conversation the other person is having, and then you match them. You meet them where they are. The process itself is simple, but actually doing it, that can be tough. So, step one, just listen. Identify the mode. Is this practical, emotional, or social? Step two, you join them there. You match their mode. And then step three, once you're both in that same space, then you can share your perspective.
So let's go back to our failing CIA agent Jim Lawler. How did he end up using this exact principle to completely turn things around? Well, at their final dinner, Lawler did something pretty radical. He just abandoned his practical, problem-solving approach entirely. Yasmin was talking about her fears, how lost she felt. She was having an emotional conversation. So this time, Lawler matched her. He didn't offer her money. He didn't offer solutions. He offered her his own vulnerability. He told her that he was scared of failing as a spy, that he felt lost and powerless, just like she did. He stopped trying to persuade her and just tried to connect with her, person to person, emotion to emotion. And in that moment, everything changed. By matching her emotional conversation, Lawler proved that he truly heard her, not just the words she was saying, but the feelings behind them. And that created this deep sense of safety and trust. They finally truly understood each other. The result was just incredible. Yasmin changed her mind. She agreed to help him, and she went on to become one of the CIA's most valuable sources for the next 20 years. All of that because one conversation shifted from a practical sales pitch to a genuine emotional connection. This story just shows that connection isn't really about having the perfect script or the most logical argument. It's about listening for the kind of conversation that's happening underneath the words. The right match at the right moment can change everything. So the real question for all of us is, in your next conversation, what will you be listening for?
Please do subscribe.